Rise, my rare hunters! It is I, MariK!
We're back with another Dragon Ball Super deck profile. We played in another one of the kit tournaments today and went undefeated once again. This is actually the fourth of these kit tournaments we've played in. This is the third one we've went undefeated with. The first one was androids. The second one was the future Trunks that we did the last deck profile on. And then today, once again, we went undefeated with androids. We pretty much won every match 2-0. This deck is just so much fun to play, and honestly, it was my favorite deck to even consider building once they announced androids for Series 2. So, of course, you start with the leader, Android 17. His best quality is obviously his permanent ability, which reduces the energy cost of all Android 17 and 18s by 1. So essentially you can drop any of them you want as early as turn 2, which is pretty fantastic with this deck. Android 17 is also one of the few leaders that can awaken at 6 life, which is really fantastic, especially for this deck, and getting that +2 draw early on really helps out as well. On the other side, you still get the energy reduction for 17 and 18, and once you get your life down to 4, all Android 17 and 18s get a +5,000 boost. So initially, he's only at 10,000, or they are only at 10,000, since this card, the Awakened side, actually counts as both 17 and 18. So they also get the boost as well as every 17 and 18 in your deck, which is really good. That helps bridge the gap with combos and stuff, and actually forces your opponent to combo more than you have to, just for them to break even or even prevent themselves from taking damage. The first card in the deck, we went ahead and changed our deck up a little bit from the first tournament we won. We didn't do a deck profile on it then. I actually didn't think the Trunks deck profile would be as successful. Otherwise, I would have done one with that as well. But we start with 4 energy boosted Majin Buu. Now, it sounds crazy, but we wanted to add blue to the deck because some of the blue support is just so good. Mainly the Whis counterattack and Senzu Bean. And having a 1-drop to be able to play is good too. I have a 1-drop in the future Trunks deck as well, whereas androids don't have a 1-drop. They're all 2 and higher. So putting the Majin Buu in there gives you something you can play early on. You get the draw effect from Majin Buu as well, so you get that free +1, which is nice. I actually run him over Android 19 just because you can play him turn 1. And I think that early extra draw really helps out. The next card in the deck is obviously one of the most important staples, is Terrible Creator Android 20, aka Dr. Gero. You run 4 of these, there's no reason not to. When you play him, you can search for any android in your deck, be it 16, 17, 18, any of the Cell cards. You can add any android you want, including himself, if for whatever reason you wanted to, which allows you so many different ways to play the deck, and just the ability to pull whatever you want to your hand is really good. This is also why I don't run Android 19, just because I would rather play Android 20 every time than Android 19, just because the ability to search for whatever I want versus the ability to draw 1 card, this seems like such a better option. Plus, I actually like Dr. Gero a little bit. Android 20, really not a fan of. Or Android 19. The next card is Iron Hammer of Justice Android 16. We only run 2 of these. We used to run 4, and we took them out to add some of the stuff in the current build, which kind of hard for you to know, but since we didn't do a deck profile for the first one. But we only run 2 of these. The ability to have a revenge blocker is fantastic, especially with him being 15,000. I can block with him, combo with him, get the revenge, and he'll still live and be on the field. Also, being able to attack with him, have him kill something in battle, and then switch himself back to active mode is really good. It also, using him against Gotenks tokens is a fantastic way to use him. And you can just leave him in active mode after that, and he's still free to block attacks. Next up is Twin Sister Android 18. Now, because of the leader's ability, you can play her as early as turn 2. And with the Awaken leader's ability, she becomes 20,000 for a 2-drop, which is really strong. Her auto is really good as well. I've used it a couple times. I actually used it to secure my win in the last round to make sure I was undefeated. The auto says, once per turn, when you attack with her, you can discard any card and target an Android 17 in rest mode, switch him back to active mode. And so you can combo with that and just keep pushing the attack, which is actually how I was able to win. We run 4 of her because that's one of the main functions of the deck, one of the main cards that the deck relies on. We also run 4 Twin Brother 17, literally does the same thing, except obviously when you use his auto, he puts an Android 18 back to active mode. And so just between these 2 cards, of course you have to discard a card for each effect, but that gives you 4 attacks with just these 2 cards, and that's a lot of pressure that your opponent has to constantly keep up with. And especially with that 5,000 extra boost, that's a lot of offense going on to the opponent's leader. Now, possibly one of the best cards in the deck, at least one of the most helpful during today's tournament, was Exterminating Energy Android 18. Now, first you're like, whoa, okay, so she's a 5-drop, she's 4 with the leader's ability, and then she's also 25 with the increase in the attack, but she has double strike, which is good, but not as good as the auto, which basically says when she attacks a leader, your opponent has to discard a card, like immediately. So even before they can counter, they discard a card, which helped me out so many games during today's event. We run 4 of these because there's no reason not to. And we also run 4 Expanding Energy Android 17. I liked this card at first when the game first came out, or when the set first came out, but as I got better with playing and as I learned how to play the deck better, his auto, which says when he attacks, draw until you have 4 cards in your hand, really not that helpful, because for the most part, you're not going to get your hand down that low ever with this deck, except maybe really late game, and even then, like, he's not going to do a whole lot. We do run 4 of him, but a lot of times he just ends up either being energy or being comboed. He does have double strike like the Exterminating Android 18, but her auto is just so much better than his. However, what truly makes Android 17 shine is Chilling Terror Android 17. This is the Series 2 promo. I run 3 of them. They're all hollow shiny, because you can't run them not shiny. And basically he just says, when your opponent awakens, they can't draw from their Awaken ability. So they don't get that +2, which is pretty devastating. Today, in fact, every opponent I played against, at least one time during our match, did they have to awaken. Like, I literally forced them to awaken, forced them into a corner where they had no choice but to awaken, even with 17 on the field, not letting them get that extra draw. And again, you can play him as early as turn 2, and he can become 20,000. So he's really, really good to keep on the board and just leave him there. You don't even have to attack with him. Just having him there is pressure enough. Now, these were late additions to the deck. The original 17-18 deck that I played during the first 2 events, where I went undefeated and then I got 2nd place. During the second one, we didn't run these in here, but we decided to add him in because I like the idea of running an Android deck that's not just 17-18, it's Dr. Giroux's creations. And so we run 2 Growing Evil Lifeform Cell. We only run 2 because we don't want the deck to focus on Cell. The deck focuses on androids. Cell is just a really nice way to make the android deck better. And pretty much every turn 3 that I get, if I have a chance to, I'm gonna play Cell as early as I can. Unless the opponent doesn't have a lot of cards to discard, which there was a couple instances today that was the case. So we just kind of held off and waited till we burned some of their life. Then we also run 2 Evolving Evil Lifeform Cell. We probably would have ended up running more had we added these in earlier, given, if we had actually pulled any. Out of 2 boxes I'd opened solo, you saw them both on the channel, and 2 boxes I opened with a good friend of mine that I've been playing with at the events, we pulled one of these. We pulled a collective of like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of the perfect cells, but only one of these, so I couldn't even play them. But another guy at one of the events I played at, I think it was the one where I played Trunks, actually. His name was Jacob, shout out to him. He gave me another one of these, and so having 2, I was like, well, shit, I can actually play this now. When you union with Growing Evil by putting a 17 under him, you bring out this guy from your deck. His auto activates. You pop any card on the field, any battle card, of course, and then you draw a card as well. He also has Double Strike. And then by putting an Android 18 under him, you can search your deck for this card, Perfect Force Cell. We also run 2 of these. So we run 2, 2, and 2. And there were a lot of games where it didn't work out today, but somehow we still managed to pull it off because this deck is just so... There's just so many different plays you can make with it. It's crazy. But we only run 2 just to make it, kind of consistent. When you play him with, period, when you play him either with the union of the 5-drop, or when you evolve him, you can evolve him onto any cell for 6. You force your opponent to discard until they have 3 cards in their hand. He also has Double Strike, and at 30,000, that is a real menace on the field, and it's really hard for the opponent to get past. And then, of course, the deck wouldn't be as good without 4 Trunks, Protector of Children. Just like the Piccolo that I run in the Trunks deck, when you combo with him, if your life is 4 or less, add a 10,000 and draw a card. We run 4 of these. There's absolutely no reason not to. Now, we do run King Vegeta's Surprise Attack. We were running 4 before we added some of the stuff that we have in the deck now. But right now we only run 3. For 1 cost, you can give any of your battle cards 10,000 power and revenge. So you can either A, use it to just completely clobber over enemies, or you can use it when they attack a guy, combo with it, and then it kill their guy because of the revenge. Even if your guy survives, revenge still kills theirs. And having a way to trick them into killing their own cards it's really enjoyable, but it's aside from the sadistic pleasure we take from it, it's very, very good, especially against some of the bigger cards. And then, of course, we added 4 Senzu Beans to the deck. Easily one of the best blue cards in the game. It gives your card 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, and you switch 2 energy to active. So basically, you get 1 energy back, and you get free 5,000 for the end of the turn. It's too good. Too good not to play 4 of, especially if you play a deck with blue. And then we were running 4 full power energies, which is the green negate. However, the secondary effect to blow up a 1-drop on your opponent's side of the field is just kind of... It's not helpful. It's really not, because most of the blockers are 2-drops, most of the 1-drops are not threats to you at all. So we swapped him out for Whis' Coercion. It's so much better. It's essentially a free card because you switch an energy back to active. We run 4 of those because you're crazy not to. if I could run more of them, I really would. That's the main deck, though. Like I said, it focuses on androids more than anything else, but having Cell in the deck does give you a lot of options as well. Now for the side deck, we took some of the cards that we took out of the main deck to add the blue stuff, and we sided it. One of those being Sun Goten, Family of Justice. For 1 energy, you combo for 5,000, but when you do it during your turn, you can blow up any card they have 3 energy or less. So you can get rid of blockers, you can get rid of pesky anything. I use this to kill several Saiyan Kabbas throughout the day, and 4 of them is really good. I did main deck them, but I actually took them out so we could run the Senzu Bean main deck. Now, one card that really worked out well in the side deck, and I'm glad we did decide to try it out, was Group Leader Pilaf. Now, it would be so much better if he was an extra card, or it would be so much better if he was a counter play instead of a counter battle. We run 3 of him, but essentially you play him and then you choose a keyword on your opponent's card and you negate it for the turn. So you can negate double strike, you can negate dual attack, you can negate just any of those abilities when they attack, which is really helpful, especially against certain cards. I did play against the Gotenks deck earlier today, and being able to stop Gotenks' ability that says, "Hey, all of your cards have double strike. Shut down all those counters, the tokens before we kill them." Another one of the more helpful cards we sided was Mafuba. Mafuba's not as good as it could be. A lot of times, like, it's just better to just kill the card, to just KO it, than to play Mafuba on it and just have it sit on the field doing nothing. However, some cards you can't kill, like Zamasu, for example. Zamasu can't leave the board for any reason, with the exception of the 7-drop Zeno, which pretty much just resets the field, everything on it. It's kind of like a Chaos Emperor Dragon for those of you Yu-Gi-Oh fans. And we run 4 of these because against certain cards that we can't do anything about, it's really good. And even against cards that you could, even against, like, say, Gotenks, you just play it, stop all his effects, all the tokens still lose their double strike, and that helps a lot. And the last 4 cards we sided were cards we also took out of the main deck, were 4 Enraged Gohan Awakening. I ran them mainly to get rid of just big guys. It's like, because you negate the attack and you KO one of their cards, but you have to discard to play it. I actually didn't really have any reason to play it today, so it was just in my side deck just in case I needed it. It has worked for me in the past. I've had people attack me with the second form of Cell, and then I'll go ahead and kill it with this before they can evolve it, you know, because they tried to get the extra 2 damage with the double strike to make me draw 2 more cards, so that then I have more to discard. It's not really any different than Mafuba, except instead of just negating everything on the card, you just kill the card. In a way, it's better, but at the same time, it also makes you discard a card. So don't play it unless you really, really, really have something that you have to get past that's just hurting you in the long run. But yeah, that's our Android 17 deck. It was a lot of fun. We got our 3rd pack of Vegito sleeves with it, which was it was a lot of crazy fun to play this deck and to see how well it worked out. We walked away with another victory, another set of sleeves, and literally our prize support could not have been much better. But if you guys enjoyed this deck profile, or if you like the way it plays, or you want to try it out yourself, feel free to hit that like button down below for us. Let us know what you think on it in the comments below. Like I said, it's really a lot of fun to play, and androids have the potential to do well. I've gone undefeated with it twice, and I've gotten second place with it once. So the deck can easily be played as long as you know how to play it. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up here, and we'll see you guys in the next one.